Okay, the first thing, I think Christ, as a Christian, I would say that Christ did overcome those things. Unfortunately, his followers have failed to be able to put those things into practice. And I think your points about obedience and supremacy and superiority are well taken. And maybe I didn't articulate myself as well as I would have liked to, but the goal is not to obtain superiority. And I want to give a quick example. I wanted to be a missionary at one point, and they said, you know, other women don't mind not being in the front. You might. It's not about being in the front. It's not about being a leader necessarily. It's about the fact that we have determined that women cannot lead because they are women a lot of times, and that men can because they are men. And there is no problem with obedience. There is no problem with submission. And I can be a leader, I cannot be a leader. It's about a person being able to have that choice regardless of their gender.
Mine is much of a comment than a question. When you were talking about Gulen movement and feminism altogether, this came up to my mind that Gulen movement is actually taking like a society as a whole and actually getting societies and how to link them all together rather than just taking women or men, like instead of taking a part of a society, taking everything all together. Like, it's not like taking only men or women, but like everything all together. And it's just trying to get everyone to do their role as the best instead of just telling men to do this or women to do that. And I think that when you were referring to being a mother at one point, you kind of said that being a mother and staying at home and like raising children. Instead of that, I think it's like being a woman might be an easy thing, but being a mother is a tough thing to do. So, and being a mother and staying at home is not like actually happens. You just have to know how to be a mother instead of just staying at home and all that. So I think when you were to refer feminism and Gulen movement altogether, I think they might be working in same directions, but with different thoughts at one point, because, Gulen movement is taking everyone as a whole society and linking societies to each other with common thoughts, where feminism is taking only women and get them to be the leaders, because all of us are getting educated by our mothers in our lifetime. So I just want to comment on that.
Okay, I'm a mother of 3 small children, and I have stayed at home with 2 of them as I pursue my education. And so I understand that, and I definitely see myself as the educator and discipliner and teaching of values and morality in the home, but my husband has that equal role as well. And that, you know, might be my perspective and my understanding. And just the other thing is, yes, feminists are speaking from women's experience, but again, not all of them are trying to pursue leadership. They are trying to say that we all should have the choice, and no one should be barred from making that choice. And one thing I didn't get to mention very much and develop was that Gulen, his movement has something to offer the rough edges of feminism, in that he teaches movements how to voice without talking at people, but to talk to them as communities. But feminists have to speak from the experience of women to name the injustice that they are speaking against.
Yes, Mrs. Malcolm, I appreciate very much your pain, which is a very real pain, but let me say that it's a very limited, and geographically and chronologically. For 2,000 years, women didn't have this pain. They did. What happened? Yeah. Well, I think I'm talking quite loud, so you could understand. So, in any case, this pain, as I said, that I so much appreciate, if you, even today, in the non-Western world, doesn't exist. And so you're talking about yourself, you're talking about Texas, and even, not even the West, you're talking about Texas. And you're right to say all these things, but I'm sure that there's no such a pain for millions and millions of women for 2,000 years and even today in the non-West.
I think we...
Yes, so please tell me, yes, you're right, to answer if you agree or not that your point of view is is very limited. When you talk we the feminists, we the women,
You said this already once.
you see. So,
I agree with you to a certain extent, to the extent that because you are saying that for 2,000 years there has been no pain, I think, may I say so graciously, that your understanding is limited as well. For the past 2,000 years is a very just big statement to make. And the other thing is my perspective is very, very limited to my Western understanding. But I know women of other cultures and who are not of a religious tradition and who are, and there is a felt pain. And a lot of times you don't recognize the pain when you know that there is another choice.
Congratulate the Canadian Institute for Cultural Dialogue, Intercultural Dialogue, and its leadership and its supporters on organizing this event as well. And just on a personal note, I've run into someone today who was a great inspiration to me when I was younger and continues to be a great inspiration. That's Dr. Gregory Baum. So this is good guidance not only for individuals, but it's also good guidance for universities. Many Canadian universities now, given the diversity of our population, student populations, and you can see this on every Canadian campus, we need to work at this. And we need people like Mr. Mandela as guideposts, as inspiration, and movements like the one you are studying and talking about today to inspire us forward, because it's a complex task. It's not, as we would say in North America, a slam dunk. It is an ongoing, complex, but important mission. So that's the quote I wanted to start with. I want to give you a very practical example, though, of something we've been doing at Carleton over the last 2 summers. It's a summer camp called Rise and Flow. And it is a camp run by a student group called Black Affinity of African Canadians and Caribbean Canadian students to open up the university for a summer camp for low-income children from poor neighborhoods in Ottawa. And we have some here, and in particular parts of the city. That camp works to build the kids' confidence and skills in sports, in music, in interpersonal communication. And this summer we had a lot of 10 to 12-year-olds in the quad here as you come out of this building, throwing footballs around, whizzing by professors' heads, fortunately not hitting anybody. But it brought a lot of liveliness to our university this summer. But more importantly, it, I would say, demystified the university for a group of students, a group of kids.